Hampton Falls is one of the small yet intrinsic slices of the Hampton, New Hampshire area. Hampton Beach, a mere 5-minute drive from Hampton Falls, is host to countless tourists from all corners of New England. New Hampshire's coastline, to say the least, thrives off of the summertime attention.
There's a lot of history about people from Europe coming over on these lands of Hampton Falls, Seabrook. They rode into the shores and they colonized this entire area. They actually teach kids how to make maple syrup. Naturally make maple syrup. You get to go in there when you're a kid, like in 4th grade. I was one of them. And they make maple syrup right in front of you, and you can smell it. And like all the different types, because there's certain like thicknesses and the amount of sugar they put in or whatever. And it becomes either like really sappy or really like loose and thin. But it smells amazing.
In the cooler seasons, though, the Hampton area is a different place. The visitors, like water through a dam, flock out rather than in. The sand turns white with snowfall, and the restaurants, once vibrant with nightlife, close. The cold season shuts most of the Hampton area's businesses into a slower mode of being. That isn't to say, however, that something interesting doesn't happen. In 2014, a guest to a WordPress webpage would make a startling claim that a mountain lion had been seen in Hampton Falls during the late summer of that year.
I think I saw a mountain lion tonight around 10:45 p.m. in Hampton, New Hampshire. Got on 95 South past the tolls near the Taylor River. Absolutely massive beige cat sitting on the side of the road, watching cars, almost looked like it was waiting for traffic to die down so it could cross. Thought it was a deer at first, because I see deer around there at night quite frequently, but as I drove by it just looked like a massive cat with big, thick legs, much thicker than a deer, and the head followed my car as I drove by. A big block of a head, much bigger than that of a deer, and also bigger than a lynx or bobcat. It was hard to get a good look, but I'm confident in what I saw, and there are many deer and wildlife in that area, which could explain the food source these cats are looking for.
Mountain lions are not an imaginary species. Quite the opposite, they once populated a wide range of North America, stretching both the east and the west coasts. They are known by several names: cougars, pumas, panthers, and catamounts. The name catamount is derived from the phrase cat of the mountain, once used in the 1800s and prior to describe this beautiful species. It was in 2011 that eastern populations of mountain lions were deemed extinct. While mountain lions persist in the western states, mountain lions that are genetically of the original eastern bloodline are still considered extinct. There are, however, countless sightings all around New England. A recent film by researcher Alexander Petikov called Lions of the East outlines many of these sightings. Lesser known, though, are the sightings taking place in the Hampton Falls area. The Taylor River is the site of several such sightings, and winter, while making conditions difficult for people, is the most active season for mountain lions. Alright, so the plan that I have here is, since we have this embankment over here, griffin or somebody, whoever wants to, we can set them up behind one of these trees so they won't fall with a set of binoculars. And what that will let us do is see the opposite shore just really well and be able to know if anything's watching us on that end. And a few of us can then traverse up ahead and find a place to put our meat bait, you know, preferably in a place that someone with binoculars could see it. That way they can keep an eye on it. And aside from that, our main goal really is to find tracks and hopefully see something, but tracks are probably our best bet, I would imagine. So that's what we're going to go with here. What this is the reservoir end of the Taylor River. And it was this river, if you follow it all the way over this way, towards what is I-95 on the highway, is where in October of 2020, somebody from the area had a sighting of a mountain lion. So we're not at the exact spot, but if we just walked up there maybe a mile or so, we would be at the spot where the mountain lion was supposed to be. And of course, that's towards a lot of more, you know, residential areas and in the highway. So what we're looking at essentially is if there is mountain lion here, we've got a sighting that happened over here, and this all here would most likely be more of the actual habitat of the animal because there's less people. So hopefully that's what we're walking into. So we'll keep going.
So we were just wandering around the trail and we just found these like barkless trees down at the base, more than the top. So it's kind of strange just seeing it, all these scratch marks and all the bark missing from the tree. Could be an animal, maybe sharpening its claws, who knows. Because bears do that with trees sometimes, who knows.
Not too far down the trail from where we just found those markings. And what we're seeing here now is this, which at first we thought looked pretty man-made because it's kind of got that uniform ridge to it. But we looked further down and we saw this, which looks almost exactly like those marks. And even though we're not seeing a beaver dam necessarily right along the river where we are right now, it's possible that further ahead we have either an old beaver dam, one that might still be in use, and that we're seeing beaver sign everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So what he's doing is he is now placing down the bait to get the mountain lion to come out, and from there we'll just set up spot and wait to see what happens. It's all set and now we wait.
Not. So we just heard a really weird, strange noise. Who knows?
Ooh, it feels like it came from the farm right over there.
Yeah.
So
I love how clear the water is here. Beautiful.
it is a beautiful place. The way the ice hangs off the trees like that. It's crazy to see water just freeze in mid-drop like that.
You know what? It's so damn cold.
It is cold. Man, what was that? God, I can't believe I wasn't recording when that happened. that sound like? That sounds like a person screaming. Yeah. Bro. Was that a mountain lion? What the was that? That's a bird. The whistling. We got that on recording. That was loud. That whistling big. Bigger than what we're hearing around here anyway. Which, I mean, we're hearing birds, so I guess it isn't that big, but I was recording for that. We have that on audio. Dude. So it's the next morning right now, and we're walking back to where we put the stake, where me and Jackson put the stake. And luckily, the rain doesn't seem to have taken away too much of the snow. So what we're hoping for is to find tracks of anything that was attracted to the smell of the meat. Yeah. We got something.
Do ya?
Yeah. Hannah, do you have your phone on you?
I do.
Can you give Griffin your phone and send Griffin down here? So the stake itself is gone now. The bag that we hung up that had the stake in it has been ripped down, which is interesting because that had been hung up in the tree. So something reached up into the tree to get that. And it's impossible to tell what these are. They're not exactly that big, but we have some of these rounder indents in the ground here. And something that wanted meat came by here, got meat, and left. And I'm not sure what this means right here, actually. Take a look at this. Look at this. This looks a little bit different than the beaver marks we were seeing the other day. These look like sharper than that. You can even see the ice and like the water. Look at that, yeah, forming around that. That's interesting. That makes someone wonder. A second sighting on the Taylor River was reported just a year prior to the investigation, in the fall of 2020.
Saw a big cat from 150 yards away in our huge backyard in North Hampton 2 days ago. Not a canid, and not a lynx or a bobcat. Dark gray or brown, long cattail about 2/3 as long as the body. Noticed it after it was already halfway across the yard, about 5.
So, I thought it was a really nice adventure, I guess. It was a really good opportunity to kind of explore the town that I live in and what goes on in it. Clearly, there's not too many mountain lions that are supposed to be in this area, so I thought it was a really nice time to kind of explore that and see what kind of wildlife lives in my town that I grew up in. We heard about 3 in total. I believe we heard some really weird screeches. We heard some howls. There was a farm next to us. I believe that it was coming from the farm, but they were so weird and bizarre. Overall, I think the noises were theoretically a horse squeal. I think it's too similar, but I could be wrong, of course. Mountain lions have very interesting squeals and noises they make, kind of like a woman screaming, I guess. And I thought that was very similar to it, like eerily similar to it. So I thought it was really interesting. But overall, the documentary really helped me kind of learn a lot about my hometown, I guess, and what goes on around it. It was a good time.